Welcome to the Underdog Gaming Patreon podcast. I have a special guest today. I'm not talking about Jambu, but you're always special to me, Jambu. Welcome to the first Underdog Gaming Patreon podcast of FIFA 21. Good to have you here.
Thank you, mate. Yeah, looking forward to it.
Me too. And then our special guest this week, we always try to get a different content creator or pro player, someone with expertise, knowledge in a certain area, or someone who's been around the game who's got lots to offer. We always try to get someone different for each podcast. This week we have Brad, also known as the FUT SBC top trader. Welcome to the podcast, Brad.
Guys, thanks for having me. Starting to hype up a bit now, isn't it?
Yeah, I was thinking that like 2 days, as of recording this podcast, so it goes live tonight on the 29th of September to the patrons. It's 2 days to EA Play. And then EA Play, 1st of October, that's when everyone can stream. Obviously, I think this video is going to go live on YouTube for people, or the podcast go live on YouTube on the 1st of October. The game's already out now. People are actually playing it. All the game changers have been playing it on Twitch today. Have either of you been watching any of that? If you're looking to improve at FIFA, then the Underdog Patreon is the place to be. It's run by me and another fellow professional FIFA player, Jambu, who represents West Ham Football Club. I've represented Footwiz and Roma in the last 2 years of FIFA. The Underdog Patreon is a passionate community full of people looking to improve at the game. I'll show you some of the things it can offer. Today is a great chance to start off. You get charged on the first day of the month. FIFA's just launched. There isn't a better time to join. You can see here the different prices. I'll go for all the tiers and what they offer. Also, if you pay annually up front, obviously it's a bit more up front, but you save 15% over the whole year. The silver tier, the basic tier that we offer, you get exclusive posts. Basically, these are articles that me and Jambu post, that stuff I don't really put on YouTube or talk about publicly too much. They're exclusive tips and gameplay advice that are going to help you improve, get the most out of your game, learn the game quicker. We put the tips on new patches when they come out, recommended skill moves. We have a gameplay golden rules list. We also do a podcast once a month. I've accidentally put that twice in there. Normally, you get anywhere from 1 to 3 days early access to the podcast. Also, a chance to ask questions to some of the people we get on there. We get pros, content creators, traders on there. Gold tier, help with custom tactics and player instructions for your actual team. We do monthly tournaments for people from Europe on Xbox and PlayStation. Also, in the gold tier, you'll get exclusive posts on new SBCs and players that come out. The elite tier, you can get personalised squad reviews from me and Jambu. So we'll actually look at your team, tell you where we'd upgrade it moving forward. We also do a monthly group Discord call with patrons in the elite tier and higher that you can join in, ask us questions, get to hang out with the other patrons. Top 100 tier. This one, you get to play a game against me or Jambu, or have a video analysis of one of your games where we go over it and look at your game and try to give you the best in-depth advice on where you're specifically going wrong. Also, you get £5 off a private coaching session with one of us if you want to book one. I do private coaching, so anyone interested in that, please DM me on Twitter for more information. But also in the top 100 tier, you get the ability to private message Jambu or me, because we follow you back on Twitter, and it's a chance to get access to us, to talk to us if you have any specific questions. And then the big one, the ultimate tier, something new we've added for this FIFA. It's limited to only 10 spots. You get a full hour coaching session, a full hour of co-op, so the new co-op mode on this FIFA 2v2, you get a full hour of that to get to play that with either me or Jambu. You get VIP badge on our Twitch channels, both mine and Jambu's, and then we're going to have an exclusive Twitter chat for the Ultimate members, and we'll have a group call once a month with the Ultimate members as well. Any questions about that, please comment on the video, DM me on Twitter if you want to know any further. But it's a great time to join now. Lots of people improved. We had some people go from silver to elite. Numerous people moved 2-3 tiers up. Lots of people with great reviews of it. Appreciate checking it out. Thank you.
I mean,
Jealous at all.
I've seen a tiny bit, but it just makes me crave the game a little bit too much.
Yeah, it's been a while since I've been playing FIFA. Regular FIFA 20. I mean, it does this every year, really, doesn't it? Kind of dies off the last few months, but yeah, I've been hyped now for a good few weeks and seen people play it. Obviously, like you said, Brad, not jealous at all, but I'm really excited to start playing the game when EA Play actually comes out. But this podcast today, like a lot of my YouTube videos recently and the articles we've been putting in the Patreon for you guys, it's dedicated to how to make the most of your time at the start of FIFA 21. Probably even more relevant to people who are going to be playing during EA Play when the podcast YouTube video goes live. So we thought it'd be a great time to get a trader in. So Brad, really appreciate your time today. Thank you for joining us. We wanted a trader in who'd be able to give you some advice built around that. And then me and Jambu, the two pros, are going to be giving you some gameplay advice, tips on how to learn the game at the start. Yeah, just general gameplay and then trading. We think that's a good combo for learning the game at the start. So yeah, we'll start off. The first question is, what are you guys most looking forward to on FIFA 21? I'll let you start this one off, Brad. Is there anything in particular new about FIFA 21 that you've seen, or just anything in particular about the new FIFA you're excited for?
I think new FIFA falls. I think we all get a bit hyped about it. Towards the end of the old FIFA, it always starts to die off a bit, doesn't it? And then
Yeah, for sure.
you start getting hyped up in the new one. And this one, I don't know if it's the same every year. It probably is, and I probably forget about it. But this one feels a bit. So maybe it feels like EA are trying a little bit harder to please the community. They brought back icon SBCs, which we all wanted. It sounds like they've listened to us. You know, the sort of stuff we want. We want a bit more of an attacking game, because FIFA 20 was all right, but I think we can all agree most of the time it ended up just being a bit of a bore fest.
Yeah.
I'm just looking forward to getting involved. Really, more goals hopefully, and just see what we've got.
Yeah, the game actually I think started off last year at the start, and it tends to be a bit of a consistent theme on FIFA. Is quite good in terms of there was quite a few more goals, but yeah, as the game went on, the overload ball side drop back meta was found, and it wasn't the most exciting game. We went from like headers and volleys from 50 yards, it felt, to barely scoring a goal, which was quite frustrating. But Jambu, hit me. What's the thing you're most excited for?
I think in general, I'm just looking forward to competing again. But
You
in
had a really
terms
good
of
year last year, didn't you? So
yeah,
shame for you to got off.
decent. In terms of like new features, I think we'll have some fun on the co-op. I just hope that.
Yeah, they add more to that.
Yeah, I mean, it's a bit gutting that it doesn't have private lobbies or friendlies or anything, but hopefully we can have some fun on that.
Yeah, I think during the week it'll just give us a bit more to do. It's time mode can have a bit more banter on, play like it's not quite the same, is it, when if we're streaming both at the same time, like, oh, I'm in the rivals game and this is happening. It's not the same as actually like discussing how our game playing together's going and all that and stuff. But yeah, for me, the things that I'm most excited for on this FIFA, no fitness. Like, it sounds silly, but like it was so nauseating just having to put fitness on all the time. It never affected me as much as the average player, I think, because I normally, as a pro, spend a lot, so I have a lot of fitness cards. But even then, just putting them on was frustrating, especially on. I normally do a road to glory. That was always a bit of a ball ache. So no fitness, I like that. We're going to ask Brad a bit later what he thinks that might do for the market. Like you said, Jamie, co-op. I think that has a lot of potential. I think it's maybe something that we'll realise a bit more in the next few FIFAs, but I'm glad it's come to the game. We've wanted that for a while. And then you were saying, Brad, about a more attacking game. One of the things that I'm excited for, and I really hope does play out properly, is the new attacking AI. I think last year's game, the attacking AI were about as bad as they've ever been. And I see a lot of people say like, oh, FIFA 07, FIFA 12, oh, the glory days of FIFA. I'm not saying those are actually the specific ones people say, but you get like people look back at the old FIFAs with nostalgia, and then when you actually look back at them, they weren't actually that special. So I try to be like, I think the recent FIFAs actually are better than the older ones, but I'm not exaggerating when I genuinely think that the attacking AI last year was some of the worst we've ever seen. Like, players were literally running off the pitch. You'd have an easy cutback and they'd run into the net. They just... I don't know if you agree, Jambu, but to me, the attacking AI last year was just non-existent at times.
Yeah, they'd just run into the back of the net instead of cutbacks. They'd run into defenders. They'd run offside. It was just a lottery as to whether you actually got the run you wanted.
Yeah, and you could have... It wasn't like just if you're using bronze players at the start. Like, Team of the Year Ronaldo in 99 movement genuinely would play worse than a five-a-side average, just human playing like any football game. Like, he was just awful. Like you said, I think that's the key word, lottery. And a lottery shouldn't be deciding whether you have a good chance or not, because obviously you can only control the player on the ball. So, yeah, I hope the attacking AI is as good as EA are promising. I mean, I've looked back at previous notes on FIFAs in the past few years and what they've promised, and it's not always delivered, so we'll have to see. But yeah, that's a good start to the podcast, what we're looking forward to. Question for you, Jambu. What do you think the best way to learn the game is at the start? Obviously, every year FIFA changes quite a lot. People say maybe it might not this year, but I think it always tends to. So, what are some of the tips you'd be giving people to learn the game at the start?
I think the most important thing, which is probably a bit obvious, but you want to be smashing out as many games as you can at the start. That way you get a head start. You're going to learn the meta early. You want to be playing, your rivals games so that you're playing people a similar level to you. If you've got any friends that are a similar level or even better than you, if they're better than you, then that makes it even better. You can learn what they're doing, take tips off of those. Obviously, watch high-level pros. And you can also get involved in the Patreon. I think that'd help.
Yeah, I agree with everything you said there. So, like, Jambu was a lot better than me on last year's FIFA, so I played lots of friendlies against him. And I think you'd agree, Jambu, I wasn't for a pro level that good at the start of the game, but by like February, March, I was doing really well. I was starting to compete hind-footed cups and playing someone better like Jambu, because Jambu was really good at last year's FIFA. He made semi-finals of E-Prem. It helped me improve quite drastically. And a lot of the things that pros do, okay, it's not necessarily going to turn into text the next day, but a lot of the things they're doing can apply to you for your level and can help take you to a next level. So for me, my next level would be making events and making them more consistently. Jambu's, based on his last FIFA, might be competing to win events. If you're a Gold 1 player, it might be to make elite consistently. All the content that we do on mine and Jambu's YouTube, Twitch, and the Patreon is dedicated to helping you guys improve for your level. The Patreon has had so many people improve lots of levels. We've had people move up 2-3 tiers, haven't we, Jambu? Probably even more.
Yeah.
In some cases. It's a great place to be, and we're going to have lots of exclusive special articles for the Patreon dedicated at the start of the game to helping you guys improve, and there's also a passionate community in there looking to improve. There's lots of sections in there where you can find people to play against. So if you really are passionate and dedicated to improving at the game, the Patreon is a great place to be at the start. Brad, from a trading side, is obviously we're going to go into a bit more in-depth questions later on, but is there anything in particular you can think is almost a good way to learn the game trading-wise at the start?
Trading-wise, I think we're talking right at the start of the game from game release, then I think the first thing you can do...
I think you can do EA play. I guess a lot of people, the more hardcore players who watch the content are in Patreon, checking YouTube videos out, probably are going to be on EA play, I think so.
I think EA play, and from a trading perspective, I think waste your time looking through the menus on EA Play. You just want to... That 10 hours is golden for like learning the game, learning how to play the game, and using those coin boosts. And this
they're good at the start,
might sound a little bit sort of against what you guys are saying, but I'd say EA Play, if it was me, be playing squad battles. I know none of us want to play squad battles, but
the rewards are good early on, aren't they? Yeah.
exactly. You've got squad battle rewards that are going to drop on the Sunday before the full release,
Yeah.
and you can get a decent rank on your squad battles. I think it affects your rivals rating as well this year, if I've read that right. But
I'm
if you
not
can
sure
get a
about
decent
that.
rank, then those rewards are going to help you a lot. Coins are king right at the start of the game.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. I don't think I will ever touch squad battles unless it becomes a part of. Well, it was a part, but like Icon SBs, not SBCs. What's it called?
Swaps.
Swaps. Yeah.
Ops.
That's
Yeah.
the only time I've touched squad battles in the last few years of FIFA. But early on, it is the rewards, especially before Weekend League, when you've not got that to play on the weekend. The rewards are pretty decent for it, and like you said, Brad, coins are king at the beginning. One thing I would say, you mentioned playing Rivals Jambu, which I think is important. Like I remember a few FIFAs ago, I think it was 19. I really struggled in the first month or two because I didn't play Rivals till about 3-4 weeks in, and
Yeah.
it took me longer to get to grips with the game. But what I would say is at least the first week of the game, especially if you're a pretty good player, so you can win a lot, is play draft first.
Yeah.
Because Rivals, one of the falls that like traps people fall into is they get the Rivals game smashed out quick, and the first 5 placement games are really important. If you win first 5 placement games, I think you can, on the new game, from what I've seen, go even all the way to like Division 3 or 2. If you lose all 5, you'll be Division 10 probably. So you want to learn the game a fair bit in draft first, how it plays, and especially if you're going to spend money, get a decent team, open your packs first before you go into Rivals, because you want to get the best results possible in your placement games to just save you. Like if you start in Division 5 rather than Division 3 because you lose a few games, that genuinely could take you 10 hours of time just to get to that division.
Yeah.
So you don't want to screw yourself over and lose a bunch of your Rivals games because you've not learnt the game yet, or you've got an awful team. So that'd be advice I'd give there. And draft, I think you'd agree, Jambu, it's a great way to learn different formations, try a few players out that you might not have considered, learn the meta a bit. I think you'd agree with that.
Yeah, I think for draft, like you say, you're getting all these good players. So if you're using Neymar and players like that, for example, you're learning how key is 5-star weak foot, how key is pace, all that different stuff. Because generally, I think we get a better idea of how the game plays out. The better players are used.
Yeah, for sure.
Because you get the max out of them. So yeah, I think draft is like, as long as you're able to win a decent chunk and not waste your points or coins, then I think that's definitely the way to go to learn the game if you're confident that it's going to be worth your time.
Yeah, 100%.
I wouldn't be doing draft if you're paying to enter and losing early every time.
You have
3
to,
wins is about the sort of at the area, I think, isn't it? Minimum of 3 wins, and that the rewards sort of pay off.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I was going to say. I think if you can guarantee on average you'll win at least 2 games out of the 4, then I think you'll break even. But it's not going to be that great at that point. But if you can get to 3 wins, then you're going to make a lot more for your coins, FIFA points that you're spending. So that's pretty good at that point. What do you think some of the best players at launch are going to be? Any icons you like the look of in particular from the new ones? We'll start with you, Brad.
Just the new. I just want to try the new guys. Eto, everyone's sort of talking about Eto at the moment, but Cantona, do you know what? Cantona really surprises me. I had a look at the database earlier. 90 rated Cantona, and when they announced him, I sort of thought, oh, is he just going to be another, like fodder icon? And he looks great, and he's French.
Yeah, the French one, obviously, the link's pretty good. His physicals are crazy, aren't they? Yeah, I think Cantona, he doesn't have the 5-star weak foot, but he does look really good from... I had a quick look as well on foot was earlier. I'm doing a video tomorrow looking at some of the new icons, but Cantona, I mean, he was like every year they try to have a poster boy icon, don't they, that they advertise with the game, but yeah. Cantona does look pretty crazy just from his 90 card, so I can only imagine what his prime and moments will be like. Any of the new icons you're liking the look of, Jamie?
I know one that I'm not liking the look of, which is a disappointment.
I think I know what you're going to say, but go on.
Torres.
Yeah. Oh, okay, I've not looked at it.
in games were not pretty. He looks like he's going to be a boss.
Oh, okay, what's his balance agility like?
It was all low 80s, and then I think his baby, it was only like 86 or 87 pace, I think, as well. Medium work rates. It just didn't look pretty.
Yeah, Torres, his prime should be a good dribbler. Torres in his prime is probably one of the best strikers the Premier League's seen, I think.
He's like 6'1", isn't he? He's just never. If it plays out how it does most years, he's just never going to be able to dribble.
Yeah, that'd be a shame. Probably one of the biggest disappointments. I've not looked at many of them too. I just had a quick glance at the database on foot was earlier. Was Puskas. He's got 3-star weak foot. So
Stoichkov 2.0.
That was literally, honestly, I was about to say, that was what went through my head when I saw him. He looks good if you don't look at the weak foot. But based off the last few FIFAs, like, weak foot is the number one stat you look for on an attacker. So that was a real shame. I'm not saying Puskas deserved a 5-star weak foot. I've not watched a lot of Puskas. I'm sure, I've done great depth research on him, but that was quite disappointing. Is there any general players outside the icons that you're looking forward to using Jambu? Obviously,
I think the first pickup I'm going for is Neymar and Mbappe as the duo.
Yeah, Neymar is always crazy, with a 5-star. He's just a FIFA player, really.
Yeah, start of the game, you're not going to go wrong with Varane and Mendy hyperlink.
Yeah, that's a great combo. Mendy got a decent upgrade this year, didn't he? A few levels.
Yeah, and then the Premier League's new right back, in my opinion, Semedo.
Yeah, he got an upgrade, didn't he, as well, before he went to...
He's an 83.
Yeah, that'd be pretty good.
He's just... I imagine there's no way that he's not going to be meta, is he?
Well, he was very meta last year, and he was a level lower, so... Is there any La Liga midfielders that are taking your fancy?
They look shocking.
La Liga looks awful this year.
Yeah.
The worst I think La Liga's ever been that I can remember recent foot history. Brad, any players from the gameplay side that you're liking the look of that you want to pick up at the start?
I think Jambu said it's all very much is that we're popular in FIFA 20 at the moment. You got the obvious ones, haven't you?
Yeah, of course.
I always like Kevin De Bruyne as well. I know he's not quite meta, but I like the guy, so I always try and build.
He's
a team
one of my
with him
favourite players in real life. Yeah.
But it's got to be Mbappe and Neymar again. I just can't see how you can have a competitive team without them two.
Outside having the top icons, but hardly anyone can afford these. Mbappe and Neymar, I think, are going to be the two best gold attackers this year. I think Van Dijk, for his position, will be as good as they are. But when we're looking at the elite attackers, Mbappe and Neymar, I think probably will play better than Messi and Ronaldo this year.
Definitely. Neymar.
Ronaldo, I don't think it's definite. You never know with him, especially with the heading looking a bit better. Ronaldo, wasn't that good last year, was it? Until his team of the year. Messi looks not finished, but he's a lot slower this year, isn't he?
Yeah. 80 sprint speed, not ideal.
Yeah, that was a bit of a disappointment to see that. But I think Mbappe and Neymar are going to be the go-to duo. They're not going to be cheap, but they're going to be a lot more affordable, a lot of the icons. And then everybody's favourite player, Ben Yedder. He's got an upgrade. He's an 84. Pace has taken quite a downgrade this year. Jadon Sancho's got about the same pace as me, apparently. No, I'm just kidding. I don't really have low 80s pace, but Jadon Sancho, does he have 82 pace or something?
Yeah.
And Gnabry they've killed as well.
I'd be interested to know what's going on there, because even with Messi, I'm sorry, but Messi has not got the equivalent to 80 sprints. Messi's rapid still, not what he was, but he's quicker than 80 pace.
Yeah, they'll probably say they've done proper tests. I don't know, but I feel like Ben Yedder, because he's kept good pace at 84, I actually think that's going to be pretty good at the start.
Yeah.
I think Ben Yedder and he should get a team of the week. He got 2 goals. He was tweeting footwards, bragging about how he's going to be in the team of the week. I think Ben Yedder could be quite expensive at the start. He's 84, especially if he's not in packs for a week. But he's probably going to be one of the best, reasonably valued elite players. I think you'd agree with that, Jumbo?
Yeah.
Yeah, so, lots of great players to look forward to. There's always these like hidden gems, isn't there, as well, that come out. Maybe they release a couple of SBCs early on, but it's always exciting times at the start of the game, learning who the new players are going to be. I think there's so much content being created around FIFA now, and the game's been relatively consistent meta, player-wise anyway, last few years. Like, there might not be quite as many, but hopefully a few of the new icons do break the mould a bit this year. We're going to go into some trading questions, more specifically dedicated towards Brad, the FUT SBC here. I'm notoriously not very good at trading. Jambu will never forget my Cruyff incident. Jambu, tell the podcast about that.
So, I was on a night out and I got a message from Zell. It was, I can't remember word for word, but it was something like he's about to make millions of coins.
I was going crazy, like,
he was absolutely buzzing. Like, he just found this way he was about to make millions. So I asked what he'd done. And he'd bought, how many was it?
It was like 6 or 7.
6 or 7 Cruyffs.
Middle Cruyff, I think, yeah.
Yeah. And you ended up losing...
about 200k on each one.
On each one, yeah.
It wasn't like... Obviously, sometimes I think trading, you might have to take a few gambles and stuff. But it was the fact that I was adamant I was about to make bank, weren't I?
Yeah.
And then you were like, that's not what he normally goes for, though. I can't remember what I paid, but you were like, go look on, like FootWiz, they have like graphs on the prices. You were like, oh, go look at that. He normally goes for a few $100k cheaper than what you've just paid for him. And then the penny dropped, and yeah, Jambu's never let me forget that one. So that wasn't a good one. So the point stands, you don't really want to take trading advice from me. Jambu's notorious amongst pros for doing every SBC going. This Patreon obviously isn't dedicated to training, it's dedicated to gameplay, helping you guys improve as much as possible. So it's why we've brought an expert and someone who actually is competent in the dark arts of trading. Brad, some questions for you. How best is it to spend points at the start of the game, in your opinion, if you're going to be buying FIFA points, that is?
I think, is it spending points? I think the thing you got to remember is we're all talking about player prices at the start of the game, and they're always at their highest. There's value in everything at the start. Even you'll get 78 rated pacey fullbacks, God knows who, but there'll be one and he'll be worth about 10k. So if you're going to spend FIFA points, then load it up at the start. I think if you're going to spend a significant amount, pay the £4 or £5, whatever it is, for EA the early access.
Yeah.
Load your points up then. Don't forget you can do a one-time transfer between FIFA 20 and FIFA 21, which makes it a lot easier and a lot quicker. But points, and then just open your packs as soon as you possibly can. Feel free to save some points for some drafts if, like we discussed, if you're good enough to get those 3 wins. But I think ultimately you want to open those packs and you want to sell pretty much anything that's got any value. It was a little bit worrying, and I get what they're doing, they're content creators, but I wouldn't quick sell anything really unless they are genuinely discard. You've actually been on the market and they're not selling. Yeah. I would sell everything you possibly can and get that coin balance up as quick as possible.
Yeah, that makes sense. I'm guessing as well you would say, like, if you can get on really early on EA Play and you see like players like Son, the meta players, that 5-star weak foots, Van Dijk, Varane, the top players from last few FIFAs, it's pretty consistent how good these guys are. I'm assuming you'd say if you see them cheap and you've got the coins to get them, then buy them up quick.
Yeah, so let's say you spent some money, you've got a coin balance. So the way that the market tends to react is it's low until, you know, people start coming on the game, they've bought the game, and they start spending their money, they start buying their players. So if you're on early access, and it's all relative to how many coins you've got. If you've got millions, then obviously look at your Van Dijks and stuff like that and invest there. If you've got a little bit less, then you can look at guys like, you know, your Saint Maximans and your, I don't know, Adama Traore's, Martial's, you know, those sort of guys. Alphonso Davies, he's going to be big because I've seen him in more or less every starter team going.
Bayern have some great links as well, don't they?
Yeah. You know, invest in those guys. Just make sure I would hold them until just before the 6th. What you're going to get on the 6th of October when everyone obviously starts the game, they get there early, like Champions Edition. Then you're going to get a massive FIFA point drop again, like we always do, and player prices are going to come down in the short term. So if you're clever, buy around early access. You want to hold it until just before the 6th, you know, sell the night before. And then on the 6th, hopefully we'll see prices drop again and it lets you get back in. And you can do again, sell before, I think it's the 9th, isn't it? The 9th, I think, the full release.
9th full release,
yeah. So again, sell before then. So you've got like a double dip. You can make some good coins that way.
I'm learning as we do the podcast.
Me too.
Makes sense, to be honest, though. Yeah, I find trading a lot of the time, it's not rocket science when I hear traders explain it, but yeah, it's like I'm learning to walk again when I hear some of the advice. It's like, oh yeah, I didn't even think about that, but it's quite logical, common sense, a lot of it. But I think one of the main things you're saying as well is when you invest in players, invest in ones that are going to be in people's teams, basically, like players that are going to be in weekend league.
Yeah, exactly, and I mean, there's going to be plenty of players that you can invest in, but I can't name every single one. I think the best thing you can do is when we're looking in, you know, the guys that are in your Patreon or the guys that are listening to your YouTube, if they're looking on Footbin, if they're looking at Twitter, just take a note of, you know, everyone's posting starter teams, aren't they? And pros are posting starter teams and stuff. Take a note of the guys that are most of those squads.
Consistent in the teams, Like Sissoko last year went to like 40k, didn't he?
Yeah.
It was one of the only, pretty much like one of the best options in Prem midfield. And Prem players are always going to explode because everyone wants the Prem.
I think even more this year because the other leagues, like Bayern Munich, have a few good triangles like the Goretzka, Alaba, Lucas Hernandez. Those are the two options, centre back, and Davies. But the Bundesliga looks pretty poor compared to what I expected. Serie A's got Ronaldo, but it's not that great. Like Prem really is even more than other years the dominant league, I think, this year.
I think wanted to build a team just from scratch. You're going to look at the Prem. Every other league, you pretty much have to hybrid. Like like you said, there's a few triangles in Bundesliga. There's probably a couple of like hyperlinks in Liga, but that's it.
Well,
you can't build
hasn't it? Yeah.
You can't build a team though. People are gonna be looking at the Prem, so I think that's where I'd look at.
Okay, that all makes sense. Yeah, we kind of talked about some investments that are good to make. Like I said to Brad before the podcast that I didn't want him to say buy this player, buy that player, buy that, because I don't think that's always helpful, and I don't want Brad getting a load of angry DMs if he tells you to invest in a player and it doesn't actually come off. Because, like I said earlier, with trading, there's always a slight risk to it. But yeah, sound advice, always buy middle Cruyff if you see him at a good price. Advanced SBCs, I think they're pretty good at the start. What would you say about them, Brad?
They're fantastic, both from building your sort of coin balance up because the rewards are good, plus trading. One thing I will say, if you're going to open FIFA points, a little tip is sell all. I'm going to contradict myself when I said sell all my players.
I was going to say, but go on.
So yes, you want to sell all your players, but I think the first thing that I would do if I've opened up a significant amount of FIFA points is go and have a look if you can complete those advanced SBCs, because you need to remember that packed players come with added loyalty, and that added
needed,
loyalty,
isn't it, for some of them?
it's gonna make those advanced SBCs so much easier to do. So if you can like get the advanced SBCs done and then sell your players, then you're onto a winner. And again, trading around these advanced SBCs. If you're adept at using Footbin, then you want to go on Footbin, go on the active challenges, have a look at some of the solutions. Like I said about the starter teams, you want to note down the players in those solutions that are consistent in the top sort of 10 solutions per SBC.
It's why like Brazilians tend to rise. Like you can see like a Greek league Brazilian rare gold left back, and he might be going for like 8k because he's in every single solution for like the nations. Not the hybrid leagues, isn't it? But I think that's one of the things, isn't it? Like you go and look at these like SBC solutions, and they always look a lot more than you think they should be. And it's because the ones that have been at the top, the prices have just risen loads because everyone's just like robots, just copying them exactly. So you can almost save coin. Like I found before, the SBC solutions on Footbin don't always tend to be the best because they've just risen because everyone's copying them. But you can kind of follow the formula they use, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, I only use those solutions for trading because you're exactly right. If you're following those solutions to like do the SBC, I reckon you're going to be overpaying like 20%. But from a trading perspective, they're golden because, like you say, you can find that Brazilian left back that's going for 8-10k, and then you can try and snipe him on the market or open bid him on the market, and then you're making coins.
One of my actually like, there's few and far between these profit that I've actually made. That actually good ones on FIFA 18. I did a road to glory, because I'd quit my job to try to go full time, so I had to earn coins. So luckily this year this trade paid off. But I don't know if you remember him. He was a Brazilian centre back called Botajin from Feyenoord. Either of you remember
him? Yeah.
Yeah, he was used a lot in these advanced SBCs. And I just remember sniping him constantly at like 500 coins. And he was selling for like 3 to 4k every time. Which I'm assuming that's still a consistent theme you can do on advanced SBCs, Brad.
Yeah, exactly that. I mean, you've done pretty much what I was saying. Maybe you didn't look at the solutions. I don't know, but you find a player that's like consistently used, and even moving on from the start of FIFA, you can use this method all the way through because you're going to find, like last year, you had Pizzi, the Portuguese right midfielder.
No one was using him to play, was there? But he was always SBCs.
Exactly, because he makes those triangles for SBC, high chem SBCs, and he's a consistent trade for me.
Yeah, that's fair. So advanced SBCs, you've heard it there from the man himself. They're a very good way to make coins at the start, and you can learn some stuff from that throughout the year. General trading advice, that's something that I was asking you to give, Brad. Like, what are some things that people might not have thought before? I'm not asking you to like obviously do a 2-hour lecture on the complex sides of trading, but what are some of the general tips you'd give people who are maybe new to trading, or just some advice that might help them at the start of the game to build their team a bit better?
I think the best tip I can give, and it sort of highlights your Cruyff mistake, let's say. So
the Cruyff debacle.
The Cruyff turn. Yeah. So people that are new to trading always looking for that massive trade that's going to make them millions.
Yeah.
And it rarely works out. So trading is about finding it does it every now and again, but risks are too high. Like you got to find something consistent.
Agreed.
You got to learn a method, and you need to do something consistent. So I think one of the best methods, and you can do it from the start of the game right to the very end, is learning about supply and demand. And that sounds really easy, doesn't it? But we're buying players like gold meta players, especially at the start at 6 p.m. when we get supply through SBCs, or we get supply because people are opening FPs because FIFA have released ultimate packs. Prices will go down. Yeah. And after about 8 p.m, you'll start to notice that those prices start going up again. So if you buy between 6 and 7, generally, you're going to be all right. and you're going to be, if you buy the right players, obviously, and you're going to be able to make money overnight and into the next day.
Yeah. I mean, sounds
an easy
good to
one.
me.
It's consistent.
Yeah. Anything else you'd say? Just general training advice for people at the beginning.
There's another one, Tech Avion.
I've heard of that. Is that the one where you like put a chem style or change the position of a player to make him like look more desirable, and then put him up a lot more than he should be?
And it works. And if I'm honest, it's pretty much the method that I used, my consistent method last year.
Give us an example for like someone who might not have ever heard of it before.
So what you do is you find like a meta player, like let's say Saint Maximin.
Yeah.
I think he pretty much stayed between 20k for like months last year, if I remember rightly.
Yeah.
So you want to buy him around 6 o'clock. And what you do is you won't have to add fitness on this year, which we'll talk about later, but you add 99 contracts to the card, and then you'll add a chem style, and you'll list him on the market for about 10% or 15% more than what you bought him for.
Mm-hmm.
You'll find, it's because we're all lazy, people look at the first sort of 2 or 3 pages on the market, and they'll have a look at a card that sort of looks good. So if you've got 20 cards without a chem style, and then there's your card sat there with a chem style and 99 contracts, most of the time people don't care that it's more expensive than the rest. They're going to buy it.
Yeah, but let's say it was 3k more expensive, it might have cost you 1k and you've made good profit.
Exactly. You made 15%, and it doesn't sound a lot, but if you're making 15% on every card, every day, every week, then you're gonna have whatever team of the year player you want come.
Yeah, I think like this is something I think I've heard before, that a lot of the main ways that traders make coins on FIFA is just through people's combination of stupidity and laziness.
Much.
Yeah, that's fair.
Laziness.
Yeah.
Capitalise on.
Lazy buyers is a term I hear quite a lot from traders, isn't it? So. Yeah. All right,
always.
That all makes sense. Go on, sorry.
Always list everything. I mean, there's another thing that you can do. You can list your squad up that you're actually using overnight, but you can list your squad plus, like, even if you have Mbappe and you've got reason to sell him, list him overnight for plus 10%, plus 15%, because some idiot might buy him. And money you can buy him back the next day.
Yeah. I mean, I've never really tried that, but again, that makes sense. This is another. It wasn't like, it was just unlucky for me, really. But I remember, no, genuinely, I remember. Do you remember the Player of the Month Hazard we got like early on one of the FIFAs, Jamie?
18, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think it was 18, and I was using, because I was on the road to glory cat, I was using Inform Alderweireld. He used to be a bit quicker on the game. He was pretty good at the start of the game on 18. I was using him, and I sold him for like 100 grand before I went to bed. And then the next day when I woke up and gone to work, I see, they release a Hazard SBC, and it required a Belgian Spurs inform, or it might have just been a Belgian inform from the Prem. And pretty much the only one that was on the market was Alderweireld. His price went from like 100k to like 350k. So I just lost so many coins that I could have made. I think the final thing that I'll ask you about, Brad, while you're here, is how do you think no fitness is going to like affect the market, and then also icon SBCs being a thing again? Like those two, they're kind of things that I think will affect the market, but what are your take on that? How do you think it'll change FIFA this year?
Well, firstly, I think they're going to improve it. Like you said at the start, none of us want to be putting fitness cards when we're knackered at 2 a.m. trying to finish weekend league. I don't think no fitness cards is going to have a massive impact on the market, if I'm honest. So, do you remember we had the fitness glitch at the start of last year?
Yeah, it didn't actually work, did it?
Yeah, so
you could have 2 fitness and it didn't change anything.
Yeah, so you effectively didn't have to put fitness on, and I don't remember that it affected prices particularly. And I think this year, I think people will have more coins. In turn, going to push player prices up slightly, but I don't think you're going to notice because everyone's going to have more coins, if that makes sense. So I don't think you're going to notice the impact of no fitness. So I'm not really bothered about that. The only thing some people used to trade with fitness cards, they're going to have to find something else to do, but I don't think that's a huge impact. Icon SBCs.
It's going to raise the value of icons on like the lower ones, surely.
Yeah, as a trader, really, really happy with the return of icon SBCs because it does.
Yeah.
What I think it will do is I think it will keep fodder consistent. Like last year, do you remember the fodder cards used to go up and down throughout the year depending on what SBCs were out? So like when
Tony Kroos or Busquets were always worth a lot.
Yeah, but last year they weren't. So in 19, Busquets and whatever and Kroos, they used to be worth consistently whatever they were worth. So let's say they were consistently 50k, and they pretty much went from like 45k to 60k.
Sometimes it was hard to even get one because they were
exactly,
especially when a good SBC came out.
Last year, when we didn't have consistent SBCs like icon SBCs, they would like drop to like 20k and 10k because no one wanted them. So I think what icon SBCs are going to do is they're going to make it like 19 again, where everything's going to hold its value. And the other thing it might do is we might get the return of discards inform investing. Do you remember that? So every team with a week,
you get discard light informs for 10k, and then when an SBC, good icon SBCs come out, they suddenly go to like 15, 20k.
So like what we were finding in 19 was that I could buy just a random slow inform left back, and I could pick him up for like 12k. And then within about 2 or 3 weeks, because of icon SBCs, he'd be worth 20, 30k. And I think it has depending on how EA do it, I think it's got the potential to sort of give us those methods again, which is good.
Yeah, that's good. I think one thing as well, I'm sure you'll be happy with this, Jumbo, is that icon SBCs are going to make our player picks rewards worth a lot more this year.
Yep.
That
was one thing I hated. Yeah. You look forward to your red picks every week. You get your Christian Eriksen, for example.
And there was no good SBCs to put him in.
Yeah, he was high-rated, good-looking card, but didn't fit the meta, so he was just nothing more than a rating, basically.
Yeah, which that'll be the same, but the rating will matter a lot more because there'll be a good SBC at some point. My team was so much better on 19 than 20, and I put a lot less money on 19 because SBCs were just so much more affordable. And like R9 last year, his price was crazy compared to 19 because he was just unattainable basically. Yeah, I think that's pretty much covered everything we wanted to talk about today. A big thank you again to Brad, the FUT SBC, for joining us on the podcast today. Brad, if people want to find you, hear more from you, where's the best place for them to do that? Like your social media?
So social media at the moment, I'm just on Twitter. So if you go to @theFootSBC and you'll find me there, you'll find plenty of guides. So I look forward to seeing you.
Yeah, top guy. I've checked his Twitter out. Puts lots of free content on there that's helping people get better at the game. So make sure you check him out. Jambu, @Jambu, is it? Oh no, it's West Ham _ Jambu, isn't it?
WHU_Jambu.
Yep. Type Jambu FIFA into YouTube. You'll find Jambu. What's your Twitch?
Jambu UK Live.
Okay, yep. If you're watching this on YouTube, you'll be able to see all my links in the description below. And if you've watched till the end, we really appreciate you tuning into this. If you've not checked out the Patreon before, please do. Hope you've all really enjoyed this podcast. We're doing at least one of these a month. If they're really popular, we might be doing 2 a month. Best luck at the start of FIFA 21. It's going to be a great year. Thank you for watching, boys.
Bye-bye.